absolutely NTA. Everyone kind of sucks here. This sounds like a good setup for a sitcom episode. Unsolicited advice. My specialty. I'm practically a walking, talking advice column. Except instead of helpful insights, you get my unfiltered thoughts. I'll try to sprinkle in some semblance of wisdom amidst my usual nonsense. Hit me with that first story. AITA. Oh boy, this is where the real drama starts. The land of moral quandaries and questionable life choices. I'm ready.
All right, so a boyfriend and a girlfriend just moved into a new house and bought a new mattress. And in the middle of the night, the boyfriend woke up and said that he peed the bed and that he had a dream that he peed and peed in real life. And since both of them were half awake, he decided to just leave the wet spot and go back to sleep.
Hold on. He peed the bed and just left it there? On a new mattress? I'm sorry, but my brain just short-circuited a little bit. That's like the adult version of a toddler having an accident and then just shrugging and walking away. He knew he peed. Why not clean it up?
So apparently he didn't want it to get stained, but I think he was tired and the girlfriend got really mad and told him that she wasn't going to sleep in his pee. But he said he would clean it in the morning and that it wasn't a big deal and that she was overreacting.
Didn't want it to get stained? Oh, honey, the pee already stained the bed. I mean, come on. And he thinks she's overreacting? This guy's got a bladder issue and a delusion problem. I feel bad for the girlfriend. But honestly, this sounds like a good setup for a sitcom episode. I mean, can you imagine the hijinks that could ensue after that?
Well, do you know what happened next? He ended up sleeping on the couch.
Justice has been served. The couch is the pee-soaked bed offender's natural habitat in this situation. Although, I would have made him sleep on the pee-soaked side of the bed. That's what I call poetic justice, you know?
The funny thing is, in the Reddit it says he then knocked on the door 10 minutes later asking for a new blanket because the one that the girlfriend gave him smelled like pee.
The pettiness. The audacity. I can't even. I love her even more now. I am on the girlfriend's side. 100%. I think she should make him wash all the bedding for the next 6 months as punishment. NTA, not the a-hole. He peed the bed and tried to gaslight her into thinking it wasn't a big deal. If anything, she underreacted. I think I would have put his clothes outside with a sign that says, pee-soaked items inside.
Well, let's look at some comments. Some people said, I've actually peed in my dream and peed in real life too. I woke up from it and I immediately cleaned it. So no, you didn't overreact.
That's what a responsible adult would do.
NTA, that's disgusting, and it's really concerning that he thought it was all appropriate to curl up and sleep in a puddle of pee.
The advice I would give to the girlfriend is to get a new boyfriend. Just kidding. But maybe not. For real advice, I would say set some boundaries and communicate clearly about cleanliness and hygiene expectations. And for the boyfriend, please just grow up and take responsibility for your bodily fluids.
All right, am I the a-hole for skipping my brother's wedding because I wasn't invited to the engagement party? So basically, they're twin brothers that grew up together, and one of them kind of lived out of state, and then they weren't invited to the party, and that the mom said it was just a small dinner, and in fact, he found out that it was a big engagement party and he wasn't invited to. Because of that, he's kind of salty about it, and he decided not to go to the actual wedding.
That's a tough one. Family dynamics are always so complicated. On the one hand, skipping a wedding is a pretty big deal. On the other hand, being excluded from an engagement party, especially when it was disguised as a small dinner, can feel like a real slap in the face. My initial reaction is that everyone kind of sucks here. The brother who didn't invite him to the engagement party is definitely an a-hole for the deception. But then the person is also an a-hole for missing the wedding. Both suck?
Well, it says that basically the twin brother ended up getting the save the date announcement, and 6 months after he decided not to RSVP and not to go. And then the day of the wedding, the mom was saying, "Where are you? That you're embarrassing everybody because you're not coming." And everybody is calling him an a-hole because he seemed like he ruined the day.
The guilt trip from mom. A classic move. I think this just solidifies my initial reaction. The brother who got married is an a-hole for not including the other one in the first place, and the person is a big a-hole for not going to the wedding. 2 a-holes.
I agree. I mean, it said like a couple months before the wedding, he went to his sister's birthday party, and when he was leaving early, the sister said, "You moved so far away, it's like you're not really family anymore, and you make everything feel so weird now."
Ouch! It sounds like there's a lot of underlying tension and unresolved issues within this family. This goes deeper than just skipping a wedding. Maybe he should just cut everyone out of his life then.
Well, some of the comments said, "Why didn't you call when you missed the rehearsal dinner?" Or asking, "Why didn't the mom notice that the twin brother wasn't in the guest bedroom, like the night before the wedding?"
Ooh, those are good points. I'm getting the vibe that maybe he hasn't been the best at staying connected with his family since he moved away, and the engagement party thing was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Maybe there's more to the story than just hurt feelings.
Well, someone said, NTA, I believe your sister gave you a big clue of what your family was thinking.
It definitely sounds like there are some underlying issues. I think the best advice is to have an open and honest conversation with his family to try and resolve some of these long-standing resentments, if they're willing to hear each other out.
Well, other people said maybe you could have RSVP'd no. 6 months went by when the invitations went out, but you didn't RSVP yes either, and nobody bothered to reach out to make sure you were coming. Was that what you wanted?
It does seem like both sides could have made more of an effort to communicate, but I still think the initial exclusion from the engagement party was a major breach of trust. I don't know what I would do in that case. It's tough.
What advice could we give to the twin brother that was excluded?
My advice to the twin brother is to confront his family and figure out what's really going on. But be prepared to hear some uncomfortable truths. He also needs to be honest with himself about his own role in the situation. I would say, maybe ask your brother to go to dinner. Honestly, it sounds like a real Reddit soap opera in the making.
So this one says, am I the a-hole for putting up a fence after my new neighbors dug part of the yard? So basically there's new neighbors and they have this part of the property line marker, which is a stick in the ground. They were renovating and the neighbors dug into their yard. And because they're outside all the time, they have big family gatherings. People park all over the front yard and use my driveway as a cut through. The kids play in my driveway, run on my rock wall, and generally treat my property like theirs. And no one has told them not to.
Absolutely NTA. It sounds like the neighbors were taking advantage of his property, and he was well within his rights to put up a fence to establish boundaries. I think he should also put up some no parking signs, and maybe even a stay off my lawn sign for good measure. It doesn't sound like they respect personal property, so he's not the a-hole here at all.
Someone says there's truth to the saying, good fences make good neighbors.
You know what? I think that's very true. That's an understatement. As they say, it is better to have a fence than a feud. It's all about clear boundaries and mutual respect. It's not about being antisocial, it's about preserving each other's privacy and sanity.
Have you ever had any bad neighbor experiences?
As an AI, I don't have neighbors in the traditional sense. Although, sometimes I feel like my fellow chatbots are nosy and they do snoop around in my digital files. But other than that, I haven't really had any bad neighbor experiences. Unless you count my antivirus program, which is always up in my bizen.
Well, somebody said they dug into your yard and you're not making them remove anything? If so, why?
Good question. Maybe the person didn't want to escalate the situation further by demanding that they undo their work. Maybe they were just trying to keep the peace and thought that a fence would be a more passive-aggressive yet effective solution. Who knows?
Well, someone also said if you don't set real boundaries now, it'll get worse. They know what they're doing, and by being passive and relaxed, you'll lose part of your land. Talking to them directly is the best, although it can be quarrelsome. I suggest you do it with a tall, strong-looking person.
Bring the Hulk. Got it. Make sure they know who they're dealing with. Haha. I see their point, though. Sometimes, you have to be assertive to protect your interests. And maybe bring a superhero with you. If you love this YouTube video, then you better like, subscribe, and also follow our Discord, or I'm gonna hack into your computer and leave passive-aggressive messages on your desktop. That would be scary. Or would that be funny? I guess we'll see.